What is going on, everyone? Greatest Hits here. I'm back with another video. Today we are doing the evaporator delete. This deleted plate right here is from BMR, as you can see, BMR suspension. So this may take a minute because I'm just now starting on this. I actually bought this back in December of 2020, but the process of taking this whole dash out and the center console is going to take a minute. So hopefully this will only take me a few hours to get the whole dash and everything out, and I'll show you guys how to do that as well. And you're probably gonna have to move the steering column. You're gonna have to bring it down, that way you can get the dash out for the most part. So that is it. I have these bolts here that I bought. I'm not sure if my stock bolts will fit in these big holes over here, but we will see. But that is about it. All right, first thing you want to do is take the T-tops off right here. There's just a lever right here. You just pull it or really slide it and then just take it out like that. Same thing on the other side. And then after that, you take this Phillips head screwdriver and then you take these bolts out where the panel is on the driver's side and the passenger side. Okay, so there's a couple bolts that I already took out. There's one here, one back here, if y'all can see right there, and then there's two here and here. So next thing you want to do is just lift this up and out. Same thing on the other side. And then there's going to be a bolt here that you need to take out. This is a ground right here to something, I don't know what, but after that you want to take a bolt off here. And this is my first time doing it, so I'm just gonna kind of just wing it and take things out until I figure it out, and I'll tell you guys what's next. So I pretty much have it almost all the way out. I will show you guys everything once I have the heater core and the evaporator out. That's what it looks like over here. And then once I have everything back together and stuff like that, I will show you guys I guess step by step on what I have done. Okay guys, so I finally got it out for the most part. I had to disconnect a lot of wiring over here on the other side too. So this is what it looks like. That plate right there is going to be sitting in here. And yeah, the car has lost a lot of weight. That's the heater core. I don't really know anything about AC except to fill it up with Freon and everything like that, but that's the vent housing that goes behind that dash right there. And whatever this is, some kind of door. But anywho, I'm excited because I am finally going to finish up today. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's put the plate on with the new bolts and everything, and that's it. I also had to take the ECU out and that cover out where the wiper blade is right there, so I can take this out because the last bolt was sitting back down here somewhere. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it for this install. Okay, so that's what it looks like right there. I can finally put my whole hand in here and get cylinder number 8 spark plug whenever I need to check it or whatever. So it's a lot more room now, you know, gotten around and doing it because it's a big job and I wanted to wait until I got some other things done to the car. So basically what I did, I'm gonna kind of go backwards here. When I put that panel in there, I used some bolts and some nuts to go through the holes here and there and some on the other side. I didn't put all the bolts in the holes because I probably got a lot of my bolts mixed up when I went to put everything back together. So I just said, screw it, I'm just gonna put as many bolts on this bracket as I can and tighten everything up. That way the panel doesn't move at all. I put some RTV on the front side of the panel and pushed it up against there. And the reason why you want to put RTV is because when it's raining or if there's any dirt kicking up inside the engine bay, you want it to you want the crevices and corners to be sealed up. That way there's nothing going into your interior and on your seats or floors or anything like that, like water. I started off taking this panel off here. There's screwdrivers up in here when you take the T-tops off on both sides. Then again on both sides as well, there's screws, and one, if y'all can see right there on the footrest on the left side of the brake pedal. So once you have all those bolts off and you have this panel loose, you can take it off. The next thing you want to do is take off the bolts on each side over there. There's one big bolt here and there that connect to 2 negative terminals on one side and 1 negative terminal on the other, or whatever you want to call it, terminal, negative wire. And that should be able to allow this whole dash to kind of tilt just a bit. And then the next thing you want to do is come in here. I started over here first instead of taking this panel off. What I did was I lifted this up, I took the bolts over here out and down there as well, and up here. That can allow this whole center console to come upward. You want to take this off first and then this panel underneath off. And before you do that, I suggest you put the car in neutral, put the e-brake up, and then put some blocks or wood or whatever on the front and the rear of the tires so it doesn't roll forward or backwards. That way it's easier to take this upper panel out. I've already taken off the radio and the AC knobs or whatever, and I did that before I did anything else. Since I'm not going to use it anymore, I took off the speakers as well. So after you take this dash off, the next thing you want to do is take this panel off here. This is a dash cover that I bought because my old dash cover was cracking really bad, just like this one, and you know, down over there. It's very common for these cars. And so I just placed it back over here. That way it looks somewhat neat and presentable and everything. But if you have a regular panel from the factory, you just slowly pry it upward. Now if it breaks, it breaks. It is what it is. Every Firebird is like this. So if you break it, you might as well buy another dash panel before you even take this thing off, because it's gonna break. After you take that off, there's bolts here, there, down there, and over there, and they're 7 millimeters. There's a lot of bolts you have to take off, and most of them are anywhere from 7 millimeters all the way to 13 millimeters. So once you have all those bolts off, this thing should pop loose a little bit. Also forgot to mention in the video that there are 4 bolts. There are 1 on each side on the center console, on the driver's side and the passenger side, and then there are 2 in between the center console and the dash, and those 2 bolts are actually bolted to the actual dash so it won't move. You take those out, and all 4 of those are 10 millimeters, and you should be able to take the entire dash out. Next thing you want to do with the steering wheel, you want to pop this off, this right here, and then make sure you push that out, and the trunk button and the light button and, you know, the little knobs and everything like that. As you can see, I screwed up here because it's not all the way in, and it's freaking impossible to push it back in there. I'm exaggerating, but it kind of was, because I already broke it already, so I'm not really worried about it as long as it's functioning. Next thing you want to do is take off this panel, and then there's a panel underneath. There's screws here, here, and then across on the other side, and then some push pins, and then some more bolts or screws or something like that underneath. I just kept my panel off because, well, again, I'm missing some bolts that I was trying to put back on and everything. After that, the next thing you want to do is come over here, and you don't have to take the steering column all the way off, but you want to take that bolt out, and then when you put it back in, make sure you put some Loctite on there, blue Loctite, like you see right here. This is a 11 millimeter bolt. Once you have that off, this joint should slide off, and make sure when you take it off, actually before you take it off, you mark it first. I put a Sharpie marker on that steering column and everything, so that's what you should do before you take it off. That way you slide it back in the exact same spot, and be careful not to turn the steering wheel once you take the steering column out. So once you have it out, and if you can't get the steering column all the way down far enough, because it went almost to about here. So another thing that I've forgotten to say was that there are 4 bolts underneath that steering column, and they're 13 millimeters. You take those off. There's a bracket in front of another bracket that holds the steering column together. So you take that bracket off, and then you go ahead and take the bolts out where the steering column is mounted to another bracket, and it should come down. Now, I suggest you hold that steering column while you take the bolts out, because it's going to swing downward, and you don't want to get hurt or anything. Like a less than an inch to my seat, and it was plenty enough room for me to move around. There's wires back here. You want to make sure you disconnect all that as well before you go ahead and take the dash all the way out. This dash was sitting over the steering wheel, and that side was facing towards me next to the shift knob. Don't be afraid to take off this computer. In other words, this is the ECU. This is the computer of the entire electrical system right here. You want to take the 10 millimeter bolts out here and here, and then you want to slide this out. But before you do, you want to take this panel off. I suggest you take both of them off. That's way it's easier for disassembly. So once you take this out, then it's easier for you to get to the rest of the bolts where the evaporator is, and the, you know, the heater core and stuff like that. I'm gonna take all of this to the junkyard and everything, because I have no need for it at all. So yeah. Almost forgot to mention, please disconnect the battery before you do anything else. And also, there's a body control module. It's like a unit on the passenger side. me show you guys. I need to mount it where I want it because it's just kind of hanging on the floor right now, sort of. I actually tucked it behind this carpet, but that's pretty much what it looks like right there. I hate working on wires because some of that stuff is confusing to me. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If y'all like this one, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, Greatest Hits, and I'll holler at you guys at the next one. Peace out.